Hello everyone. Today we will talk about the physiology of thymus gland. So we will discuss about the location, weight of the gland, structure, cells present inside the gland and its functions. Along with it, we will talk about the clinical significance of thymus gland. Now this thymus gland, it is basically a rudimentary organ in adults. Okay, so and its location, it is at the upper anterior part of the chest cavity, as you can see in this figure. Okay, just behind the sternum it is located. Now about the weight at the time of birth, the weight of thymus, it is around 10 to 15 grams, which gets increased to around 30 to 40 grams at the time of puberty. But after that, it gets atrophied subsequently in adulthood as it gets replaced by fat. Okay, so in adults, this is a rudimentary organ. Okay. Now about the structure of this thymus gland. So as you can see in this figure, thymus gland, it has two lobes, right lobe and left lobe. You can easily identify the lobes in this figure. And these two lobes, these are joined together by fibrous tissue which is surrounded by a capsule. You can see here. Okay, now each lobe, listen to me carefully, each lobe, it is subdivided into several lobules by the septa. You can see in this figure. There are certain septa and lobules are there inside the lobes. Okay, and each lobule has outer cortex and inner medulla. Okay. Now about the cells that are present inside the thymus. There is presence of some epithelial cells, lymphocytes that are called as thymocytes, macrophages, Hossel's corpus cells. Now these Hossel's corpus cells, these are very small cells, rounded type of structure, and that are present inside the medulla of the thymus. Now about the functions of this gland. Basically, in the thymus, the cells, they divide and differentiate into immunocompetent T lymphocytes. Okay, so we can say that this is a primary or a central lymphoid organ. Okay, we had talked about in immunity that the central lymphoid organs, they include thymus and the bursal equivalents. Another role is prevention of autoimmunity and to set up the self-tolerance. Why? Because this gland, basically, it has a very important or pivotal role by instructing the T cells to prevent autoimmunity. Okay, so the cells that are coming from bone marrow, they undergo a very fine tuning inside this gland and they differentiate into mature T cells. Okay, so T cell maturation, and they provide cell mediated immunity. Now this gland, it is basically a part of mononuclear phagocytic system also. Why? Because thymocytes, we talked about these cells previously, the macrophages that are present in the thymus, these are a part of this system. So the subcapsular macrophages, these are highly phagocytic. About the clinical significance, first is in case of myasthenia gravis. We all know that myasthenia gravis, it is an autoimmune condition in which there are presence of hyperplasia of thymus in some cases, or thymoma, it may be present because antibodies are present against nicotinic acetylcholine receptors in case of myasthenia gravis. But this condition, it can be associated with hyperplasia of thymus gland as well, or thymoma. That's why thymectomy, it can be done as a part of treatment in these cases. Okay. So if the thymectomy is done in a few months of birth, cell-mediated immunity will not be developed. Okay, but the same if it is done in adulthood, it can be survived. Okay, so that's why surgical removal of thymus, it is done in case of tumor of thymus gland or thymoma. I am repeating it again. It can be done in myasthenia gravis. Now in DiGeorge syndrome, whenever there is loss of thymus gland at a very early stage. Why early stage? As a result of genetic mutation that may cause severe immunodeficiency. So there is increased risk of viral, protozoal and fungal infection. Third role, in case of severe combined immunodeficiency. So it is a group of very rare genetic disorders, congenital disorders, that may result in combined T, B cell and natural killer cell deficiency. So there is mutation that affects maturation of hematopoietic progenitor cells, which are the precursors of T and B cells. Okay, thymoma and thymexis, we had talked about it earlier. Okay, thank you so much.